focusing on this one, because this one is no doubt the most important. Next one is trade policies. Are there going to be changes given our tariffs on China and trade policies? I mean on exchange rates? Absolutely. And then changes in our monetary fiscal policy. We're not going to cover that. We're only going to cover this. So now, like I promised, let's go back to this. So here, let's do an example of England and the United States. England uses the British pound, we use the US dollar. And let's say we're starting off, notice what I'm doing here. I'm doing the pound's price of the US dollar. And initially, where the demand for dollars, since dollars is in the denominator, and the supply of dollars is leading to this exchange rate, that it takes $2 to buy a pound, or 1 pound buys you $2. And that's around where it is. I think right now it's at 1.5, but let's use this for explanatory purposes. So here, and don't call me on this, I'm going to call myself on this. I understand the Mini Cooper is now no longer made in England, but it's a British company. But let's just pretend it's made there, all right? Everyone with me? Okay, good, thank you. So this, if you're going to buy it from Great Britain, you need to pay them pounds. So let's put the L with the little cross through it. A cursive L with something in the middle, whatever. That's the sign for their currency. And then the sign for our currency, I think we all know this very well. Right? This. So $300. But if they're going to buy our product and we're going to buy their product, we've got to exchange the price into our currency. And so if there's a 2-for-1 exchange rate, how many dollars does it take to buy a Mini Cooper? In other words, how many dollars does it take to get 10,000 pounds at a 2-to-1 ratio? Yeah, so let's put that down here. $20K.
Would that not go under USA?
Yeah, thank you, better idea. Perfect. So 20,000 for the Mini Cooper, thank you. Here, what's going to be the pound price for the surfboard? 150, right? $150? Pounds. 20,000 pounds for US? Dollars, right? You have to exchange it into their currency, so you need to use the exchange rate. So that's our beginning position. But let's say something happens. So draw a new demand curve. Show that demand curve going in. Let's mark that one D1, D2, and mark the original D1. Show this as Q2, but now I'm going to show a new exchange rate. 1 to 3. It now takes more of our currency to buy their currency. So what do you think this is? An appreciation or a depreciation of our currency? Is our currency worth more or less? If instead of 2, it now takes 3. Yeah, so it's less. So this is depreciation. Let's write that right. Let's write it right here. Actually, no. Let's write it right here. Depreciation. Let's again set this up. Let's do this. Price, volume, price, volume, and do the same thing over here, price, but let's leave a little bit more room. So VOL standing for volume, or the amount of trade. So here, remember, the import is, let's still put this 10,000 pounds. The surfboard is still, in the United States, 300. Do something, cross out volume, I didn't need it in those places. Now what's the price? fill in here, price and price. What's the new price in dollars? What's the new price in pounds for the surfboard? All right, you see what we did here? 10,000 was $20,000. 10,000 pounds is $20,000 at this exchange rate. Now with the depreciation, price is no longer $20,000 for 10,000 pounds. The price is what? At 3 to 1.
30,000.
Yeah, 30,000. Now what would you expect? So if the price is now done what? The imported good is now what?
More.
Now more expensive, right? So what would you expect to happen to the volume trade? How many Mini Coopers or imports would we buy? Fewer of them, right? Remember what I'd said earlier though. Remember if we're dependent on foreign oil, if we're dependent on foreign manufactured goods, are higher prices necessarily going to make us buy less? Right? Not necessarily, so there's the wrinkle there. Now over here, right in what is the price? So 100 what? Pounds. Yeah, they're too proud to join the euro, if I heard somebody say euro. They did not want to give up the pound. Yeah. It's a good guess because every other country basically went for it within the European Union. They just, because they're an island and think they're better than everybody else in Europe, as every country in Europe feels about other European countries, go to Europe and ask. You'll find out. It's a lot like the United States in that sense where we are better than everywhere else in California, but it's the same thing, but they wouldn't adopt the same currency. And in fact, it'd be like us not adopting the dollar. It's not a great thing for them, but they're too prideful about it, and so they've stuck with it. In fact, they're leaving the European Union if you've been in touch with the news in recent years. Now what's happened to the price for the exported good?
It's gone down.
It's gone down. So what's going to happen to the volume of our exports? It's going to increase. Is this a good thing for our economy? Remember, X minus M is part of our equation for our economy. What's happening to our exports? They're going up. Our imports are going, and our imports, remember, are subtracted, right? That money is leaving our country. So is this good for our GDP at depreciation? Absolutely. I started this class first day with this idea of, hey, what do you think about our dollar? Should it be strong or weak? And I was trying to bait you guys into thinking, oh, it needs to be strong. That's a good thing. Well, in fact, a weak dollar, because depreciation means it's getting cheaper, that means it's getting weaker. Is that a good thing for our economy?
People won't buy more.
Buy more of our stuff, and we buy less of foreign stuff, so that actually helps our GDP. What's the downside? Yeah, imports are now more expensive, right? So it can have a little bit of an inflationary effect. Right, so that's depreciation. Let's now do appreciation. So here, let's show, let me explain one thing here. Here's the entire reason why this is taking place. When our country or any other country changes its interest rates, that changes the motivation of investors. Think of yourself now with millions of dollars. Just take a second. Now, you've blown some of it, all right, you had some fun. Now, with the rest of it, you're going to invest it, right? Where are you going to invest it? In one company? In one industry? In one country? In one asset? What are you going to do? Yeah, you're going to diversify. And so you're going to invest in different companies and different types of assets. So you're going to take some of your money and you're going to invest it overseas. And you're going to take some of your money and you're going to invest it overseas in simple interest-bearing accounts, right? A place where you get an interest rate. So when interest rates are higher, what do you think? So don't think of yourself as a company, think of yourself as an individual with money. When you have money, do you want higher interest rates? Yes. Yeah. So where are you going to put your money? In countries with low interest rates or high interest rates, all other things equal?
High.
Yeah, you're going to be attracted to higher interest rates because you're going to be the one getting that return on your investment. So what's going to make somebody want fewer dollars? What's going to cause people to take their money out of a U.S. savings account and move it somewhere else?
Low interest.
Yeah, so here, this shift would be because the U.S. is lowering its interest rates. See if you can recall some information. What's the target rate of inflation for the Federal Reserve? 2%. What did you look up? What is our inflation rate right now? Very nice, 2.7, meaning inflation is running much higher than we would like it to. So what's the Fed doing? Trying to slow our economy down or speed it up? Slow it by doing what with interest rates? Raising interest rates. So what's happening here? Is this happening? Are we depreciating? No, because that's if interest rates are dropping. In fact, you know what? Let me just prove this to you. I have to take my word for it. Let's look. Oh, there it was right in front. So foreign exchange rates, right here. Let's do 1 year. Notice what's been happening to the dollar. The dollar has been, in the last, let's do 6 months, because they just started raising interest rates actually in the last, what's happening to our exchange rate? It is going up, meaning it is appreciating. Why is it appreciating? Higher interest rates, right? People are wanting to move their money here so they can earn higher interest rates. If they want to move their yen here, their euro here, what do they need? Dollars. And so what do they need to do in the market? They need to demand more dollars, and that's what's appreciating our currency.
Can you show how much the pound fell, please?
So what's the pound? Notice it's kind of going down. So what's their interest rate policy? Likely not as aggressive in increasing it as we are. In fact, I would bet on that. That's why that's taking place.
Yeah, it's been dropping since April.
Likely, we are increasing our interest rates much faster than they are, or they're leaving theirs the same, and I don't know off the top of my head what they're doing exactly with their interest rates. So here now, let's go back to this. What's going to cause this demand to increase? Why is the dollar appreciating? What's happening here? Yeah, whose interest rates? Yeah, U.S. So U.S. lowercase I, or interest rates are going up. That's what's causing demand curve to shift out. Let's say now the exchange rate has moved to a 1-to-1. 1 pound buys $1. Now let's really make this very clear. Let's do 2 arrows right here. What is this right here? When we move from the first point to this point, what is happening to our currency? Appreciating. So let's write appreciation. Down here, it's taking more of our dollar to buy the currency, so it is depreciation. Let's now do the same kind of setup over here. So let's write in here appreciation. Let me do this the way I should have done it last time. Just put price right here, put price, then a gap, and then volume here. Put price and volume here, and just put price here. Did I pass over you guys' questions? I'm sorry. Sebastian, did I answer questions?
Yeah.
You had your hand up too. Did I get to you? You're good? So now, assume we didn't go to this position here, all right? Assume, again, we're starting here and we're jumping down to this situation. We're going from A to C. So first we assume what happens when we go to A to B with the depreciation. Assume that didn't happen. And now assume we're going from this situation to this situation. So then rather than the Mini Cooper costing us $10,000 or 10, yeah. Did I set this up right? I wrote the wrong number, didn't I? Look at that right there. Oh, no, it's right there. Okay, beautiful. So the price here should be 10,000 pounds. Now the price here should be what now?
$7,000.
Yeah, that's what was throwing me off, was that there. So now here, it is $10,000. What's just happened to the price in our term? Nothing has changed for them, right? They still get 10,000 pounds. But for us, it now takes, instead of $20,000, so the price has gone down, and we'd expect the volume of our imports now to go up. What was the price for the surfboard? It was $300. That hasn't changed. We still get $300, but to get $300, they now need how many pounds at a 1-to-1 exchange rate? 300. So what's happened to their price of our product? Even though the price of the product here hasn't changed, their price, it has increased, and so the volume of our exports we should see going down. Now note something here. This is a strong dollar. It sounds good, right? It's strong because it now takes less of our money to buy a foreign product. That means we're going to be sending more of our money overseas. And on the other hand, our product has now gone up in price. So what's going to happen to our exports? Decrease. Is this good for our economy necessarily? No, so a strong dollar isn't necessarily a good thing for our economy, but notice something. If our inflation rate right now is 2.7, higher than the target, that means our economy is doing what? Well or poorly? It's doing really well, right? So what happens generally is when our economy is doing really well, our currency appreciates, and it starts to automatically slow down our economy because our exports are more expensive. On the other end, when our economy is weak, we lower interest rates, our currency depreciates, and our exports start increasing, helping our economy. So there's this built-in mechanism that's trying to keep balance in our economy. If we're doing too well, our currency becomes expensive and our economy slows down. When we're doing poorly, our interest rates go down, our currency decreases in value, and our exports increase, bringing us back up to some kind of equilibrium. So now, do this. Given everything we just talked about, answer these questions 1 through 8. You should have enough information there to answer them. Talk to each other. I'll review this after you're done. When you're done, think about this, the situation. Inflation is growing and you own a business that exports. What do you need to be thinking about when you're done with this? Just to, something else to think about. Did I say imports? Export. I should have said export. No, so this is US inflation. Good question. USA inflation. So just our CPI, our inflation rate, the one we were talking about earlier that's 2.7 right now, 2.7%. Trying to make this useful now that we've gone over all this, who cares? This is a big deal. If you basically, what I'm teaching you is how to predict the future, which is kind of a cool thing because it involves the future, which we generally don't know about. All right, let's review these. What moved us from situation A to B? What happened in the United States to cause demand to go in? Well, the value of the dollar depreciated because something happened in the U.S. Yeah, lower U.S. interest rates cause people to want fewer dollars. Why? Because they'll earn less in the United States, so people are moving fewer dollars to this country. So here the answer is that U.S. interest rates dropped. Now, what's that called? What did that cause? That caused the depreciation. And that depreciation did what to import prices? It raised them. That's a perfectly fine answer right there. What should that do to the volume of imports? Decrease, and I'm going to do this, parentheses, question mark. Because even when we see our dollar depreciate, we don't necessarily see the level of imports drop. We should, but because we're dependent on oil and manufactured goods overseas, that's not necessarily the case. So that's just going to cause what in our country? It's going to cause inflation in our country if that takes place. What, on the other hand, is happening to our export prices? They're going down, and here, unambiguously, we got a good. What's going to happen to the volume of the stuff we sell? Yeah, it's going to increase, and increase our GDP along with that. On the other end, when we moved here, when there was more demand for our dollar, why did that happen?
Interest rates.
Yeah, people around the world had money all over the world, and they saw, oh wait, I can earn higher interest rates on an insured savings account in the United States, safe and higher rates. I'm going to take some of my money and move it there. I need dollars, so I demand dollars because of that higher U.S. interest rate. That will cause an appreciation, which will do what to import prices? Lower them, and then the volume of our imports will go up. Export prices, on the other hand, will go, they'll be higher price, and the volume will go down. I need you to know this. We'll go over this a few more times, but this is what I need you to know, this relationship. Why do I need you to know this? Because you need to know this. You're going to be working in business, right? Most of you are business majors. If you're working in business, that means you're working with imports and exports, which means if you're going to make smart decisions, you're going to want to know what's going to happen to the price of my imports and my exports. So if you know that inflation is growing and you run a business that's exporting, what are your thoughts? What's going to likely happen to the dollar? Yeah.
Well, you have less profit.
Well, hold on. First step. What do you know likely is going to happen to the dollar? If there's inflation, the Federal Reserve is going to try to slow the economy down by doing what with interest rates? Raising them. and then that's gonna cause the dollar to appreciate. What's gonna happen to the price of your products overseas?
It's gonna increase.
It's gonna increase. What do you have to expect about your sales overseas? They're gonna decrease, and let's say you're a manufacturer. What might that cause you to do? What intelligent decision?